How's it going, Zachimus Prime, aka Zachimus Prime, here with another Transformers third-party review, and this one is an older figure. Also, I picked up my copy in about January or February of 2020, and I have just never gotten around to reviewing it. So, but this is the Unique Toys Allen. I picked this up from eBay. Sorry, not eBay. I picked this up from a dude on Facebook for a very attractive price, actually, and just a wonderful figure. As some of you may recall, I did do a review of like a comparison of all of the major uh, Springer third-party figures that were out at the time, and this was one of them, and this was actually the one that I liked best. The figure I was reviewing, however, was not mine. And I decided that after telling everybody, wow, I really think that Unique Toys Allen is the best one out there. I had never even picked one up yet, so I picked one up, and of course I love it, and I still love it, and it's a fantastic figure. I like everything about it, and the dude who owned it previously put some nice Autobot decals on it. That looks great. Of course, these little divots in the sculpt are made specifically for for a place to put Autobot symbols, and they were used to very good effect. So kudos on whoever the heck it was that I bought this from, because I don't even remember, because it's been super long time at this point. And in the words of Nicolas Cage, gosh, kind of a lot's happened since then. But anyhow, let's get into his review. In terms of accessories, he comes with just 2 accessories. He comes with a gun that is molded all in green plastic with a gray handle. Handle folds up, that's so you can store it in his alt mode. It's got a Masterpiece style peg. You can attach it into his Masterpiece style hand, like so. Close up the fingers, and there's his gun, doing gun stuff, whatever that is. And here is his sword, big and chunky compared to a lot of other Springer offering swords. So the tabs on this are off-centered. They're only on one of the halves of the sword, so you gotta make sure you've got it sitting in there just the right way. As you can see on his palm, the slot, if you try to put it in this way, it's not going to reach that slot, so you have to put it in this way. And I mean, you're a smart guy, you'll figure it out. Sword goes in there, and he can swoosh and slash and snicker snack. But yeah, so there he is from the front, and there he is from the back. Aside from a little bit of mess down here, and arguably even on the back of the leg, he really cleans up really well. I'll be honest with you, I've never actually watched a season 3 episode of Transformers, so aside from Transformers the movie, I don't really know what he's supposed to look like on screen. Apparently he showed up in season 3 a lot, and I am not terribly familiar with that. But you know, I used to have a Springer toy when I was a kid, and I have had a basically lifelong obsession with triple changers, and so I like this, and I think it's looking really good. Though I have just suddenly noticed that I've got some stuff on the crown of his head. That cleans off really well with my trusty 1.5-inch chip brush. This is the best dusting tool you could ever ask for, hands down. But that's a video for another time. Anyhow, let's get his accessories off, talk about his posability. There's that. And wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Yeah. There's that. So starting with his head is on a ball joint. allows for some down, some up, a little bit of side to side, rotates freely. When you rotate it, you do want to make sure that the parts of his head sculpt, he kind of sits inside this collar a little bit. Not this wide one here, of course he sits inside that wide one, but I'm talking about this under this littler inset right there. It sits inside there just a little bit. And so you might bump up against the edges there. You can, of course, alleviate that by pulling his head up just a bit if you want. I don't know. It's all up to you. But, so yeah, his head goes around. His arms are on a ratchet. Goes all the way around. Comes out for a full tree pose. Actually, it goes up a bit higher than that. He's got a bicep swivel. He's got an elbow joint, but it's kind of awkwardly placed. It's like, it looks like it's a double joint here. And it really looks like the primary bend should be right here, but it's actually right up here. So when he bends his arm, the proportions of the arm are a little bit awkward, but I mean, it's not awful. And, you know, as far as concessions go, it's actually really minor. So I don't hold that against him very much. He's got a waist joint, which waists quite nicely. No skirt armors, by the way. This is just all like a solid piece of plastic. Leg goes forward that much. Leg goes backwards that much. Leg goes out for the full Van Damme. Thigh swivel. Single jointed knee for about 90 degrees of bend. That's not bad. Ankle joint is pretty nice, actually. So he's got a huge amount of rock. Plus, he's got some tilting on there. And overall, it works out really well. There is a little tab here on the bottom. This tab doesn't tab at anything in the robot mode, but there is also a divot in the end of this piece to allow that to have a home to go to, so that he's not sitting up on that tab like their heels or something. So all in all, it's very good. Holds the pose very great. All the joints feel stiff and robust. Nothing on him feels like loose or floppy. Like when you shake him, you can hear his wheels rattling around. But that's basically it. Just a good all-around figure. I like this figure so much. So much. And people come and they talk about it. People comment on my 4-way or 5-way or however many way review it was that I did for the Springer comparison. And they talk about, oh, well, I like my... What I hear a lot is the open and play Springer. And don't get me wrong, the open and play Springer, it looks good. You know, it looks good. Aside from his face. His face doesn't look good at all. But, you know, in robot mode, he looks really good. And, like, in car mode, he looks kind of good. And in helicopter mode, he looks awful. And also, his chest doesn't tab in. So, you know... But on the other hand, he's one of the cheaper ones out there. He's probably even cheaper than this guy. And I got him for like $80, you know? But yeah, just all in all, I still think that this is the best offering that you can get. But let's get him transformed up. And as always with the triple changer, we are going to flip a coin for it. I've got my handy dandy 1,000 Indonesian rupiah coin. Got this straight from Indonesia. It's funny. I flipped it like this because I'm used to the American coins are flipped like this, but the Indonesian coins are flipped like this. So I guess this is the equivalent of heads that's got the denomination on it. This is going to be helicopter mode, and this is going to be car mode, some sort of a very attractive looking building and monument of some sort. So building is car, denomination is helicopter. Here we go. And we have the denomination. So we are going to helicopter mode. So to get him transformed into helicopter mode, what you want to do is you want to unpeg his arms. you want to take these little things and, well, let's just focus on the one arm. So you want to unpeg this, flip this around, and then you want to bring his arm up like this, and you want to unpeg this panel right here. Flip that around, and then with his arm bent, then basically you're going to bring it back in. On this hinge that I say should have been an elbow hinge, that's the actual transformation joint now. And so this is kind of fit together like that. If you yank on his fist, close it up, yank on his fist, that will bring out this panel here. Flip the hand around, close this back up. Then for the helicopter mode, I believe, I don't remember if it goes like this or like this. You know, we'll figure it out when we get there. We'll go on this journey together. Other arm. Bring that all the way in. Bring this like so. Flip this doohickey around. This only turns one way, by the way. So it turns this way and stops. So you got to turn it back around where it will also stop. Bring this out. Open up this panel. Flip that around. Bend his elbow. Come back down on that joint. Yank on his hand. Flip it around. Close it back up. And we're going to put them like this to match the other side. Then you want to take, his neck is on this double hinge. You want to double hinge it around. And then you want to kind of wiggle this part out. Oh, wait. Let's do the back first. This is going to come up on this hinge here. You want to pull this out all the way. And that is going to allow you to pull these out. This is going to be important for helicopter mode. And then this whole thing is going to tilt back like so. And it's going to tilt back and forth a little bit as we do this. But that'll give you space to fold this out. His head, like I said, comes forward on this double joint and then rotates around. He does have some pretty extreme visible head syndrome. But, I mean, yeah, what can you do, I guess? So, before we get this into place, because this is going to kind of block some of the leg stuff, let's get into the legs real quick. So, what we want to do is we want to rotate the leg sideways. We want to unpeg this whole thing from here. And you'll notice that this panel comes out on a double hinge. And then this panel rotates freely. So you want to get that going like so. You want to unpeg this panel here, fold this little tab in, and then this, unpeg that, unpeg this. This whole thing is going to unfold out. You can rotate this at that joint right there. You can rotate this at that joint, and then this will slide in and peg in. You can take this little panel here. This is the most obnoxious panel on this whole figure, by the way. Not that it's obnoxious in this mode, it's just obnoxious to get back out. So I'm going to take, and you want to rotate this like so, and then bring it around, rotate it back, and then bring it in like that. You can also fold out this gear while you're back here too. So that's one leg getting there. Let's get the other leg to this point. So again, untab this panel right here, bring this around, rotate the whole leg at the thigh swivel, untab this green panel just with your finger here. Come on. I said, damn it. There we go. Disconnect that, bring this all the way out, rotate this, rotate. Oh, that's right. There's a gray panel here that needs to be unpegged. Flip that in, rotate this there, bring this out, tab that in like so. and do the doohickey with this little panel here to bring that out and around, bring it in. And now what you want to do is you want to bring his legs together, because we can do that now. And there will be a series of pegs and tabs all along up the middle here. You just want to peg them into each other. You want to take this panel down here. This peg is going to fit into that tab in his crotchular section, like that. Again with this other one, boom, boom, done. We're going to swing these around. Actually, probably an easier way to do this is to untab this slightly and bring this up. That will allow this just to stick down in there. And oh, I guessed correctly. This is the correct configuration for the helicopter mode. There are two little slots underneath here, and these two little tabs home in on those very nicely. So for this side, what you want to, let's fold this back up. This part right here. Put that back home. So what you want to do for this is you want to fold out this part and fold out this part and then fold this out. This will allow you to take this whole section here and rotate it around, and then they'll kind of peg back into place. You want to take this and rotate it like so. And then this section here is going to fold out, and then this is going to fold out. You want to put down this strut here. Geez, focus, focus, focus. You want to put down this strut here. Yeah. Use the sword as leverage. Put down this strut, pull this out, and then you've got these little things that want to go out. And a little spudger works wonders at this step. Nice thin spudger. And so now, basically what's going to happen is that this tab, there's a slot right here. See this slot here? That slot is going to go into this tab right here. And that is going to be your guiding principle for this step. So maneuver things around till you get that close to home. And then you're just going to make sure that all this is lined up. So you're going to get it close, and there's a tab here that goes into this slot. There's a slot here that goes over this tab. And then there's one of these slots, I guess I don't remember offhand. I guess it's this one right here is going to go into your tabs here. This lower one. So you kind of bring it in, have this up, that'll help you with that. Wiggle that into place, wiggle that into place, and then close that over. And there is half of that done. So we're just going to do the same thing with the other half. So open up the foot and the heel, bring this part out, rotate this around, close it back up, rotate this part, bring this out, bring this, you can't bring this all the way out until you get his little gear out. Bring this out, and then pull open these little panels right here. They sit very, very, very flush with each other, and that's why they're kind of frustrating. Like every time I have problems with it. Let's try it from this side. Looks like I've got a little more of a gap. Ta-da! Perfectamundo. All right, so bring this out. Now you want to make sure that this panel is collapsed. Seat all this in. Do this tab first. And then this tab right here. And then this tab right here. Clean them up, make sure that all of his panels are put together properly. Close this down. You're gonna have these two slots right here. Focus. These two slots right here. Go onto these two tabs right there. And then this will just close down into place. You can take this, fold it up, and stick it on the side. Whoa. Let's put this down. There's a slot right here. Put that on the side there. And then take his sword, pull it out, flip it around, have it back together, and plug it into place. And there you have the Unique Toys Allen in his helicopter mode. And it is a nice, big, chunky helicopter mode. It looks very good. It's got, I like how the lines aren't like super, they're not all right angles. You got some curves and some like, you know, smooth curvy places and this like non-right angled, you know, stuff in here, and it just looks really good. Helicopter blade spins quite nicely. Looking great. And it just feels really good. It feels very solid. As I say that, the nose comes up. But it even cleans up well from the underside. I mean, yeah, you can see his head, and yeah, you can see some other things like, you know, wheels or whatnot. But by and large, it actually cleans up quite nicely. I think it's good. But yeah, I dig it. I dig it a whole lot. Let's get him into his car mode. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off his accessories. Car mode is, I mean, as is par with Springer, car mode is basically helicopter mode, but with a couple little changes. So we're going to work on the front first. We're going to unpeg this and unpeg this and unpeg this to bring all of this out. With this up to give us space, what we can do is, so this is going to want to fold up. We're going to need to gain access to that space by pulling on this. Let's pull on his cockpit first. That allows us to bring this up, which will allow us to bring this up. Let's move his chest plate out of the way. And that, actually, before we do that, let me unpeg this one too. So that'll allow you to bring this up, and then you can fold these in. And then these panels here are going to sit just to the outside of his little shoulder parts there. Well, we've got this up, by the way. Let's quickly take and fold these around. They're easier to do while it's sitting up like this. Those will not, by the way, plug in back here, but they will plug back in. So you want to make sure that this gets engaged now. You want to fold up this. Fold, 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 fold. That will expose the tire there. And then this is basically going to sit back kind of how it was, except now things go into different tabs. Like so. So let's get this other one into place real quick. So fold, 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 fold. Put that down into its home. Double joint this out. You'll see that this unpegged from these slots here, and then there's a couple new slots. If I can get this back untabbed. You'll see there's a couple new slots down here that they'll tab into now. For the back end of it, what you want to do is, let's get all of this untabbed. There we go. Let's get this unpegged. And so now how this is going to go is this is going to fold back up. There's a tab on the underside that's going to fit into this slot right here. Actually, before I get this done too far, let me see about squeezing a bit of space out of here so I don't have to like untransform everything just to get these wheels out. So this is going to kind of peg together. I think that technically, I was afraid of this. I think that technically this tab here, this panel is supposed to come out, but this is, as I've stated before, the most obnoxious of panels to get out. I really wish that they had included some sort of tab or like a divot or like a cheat. Like if you could have like hooked the end of this into there and pulled it out somehow just using the accessories on hand, that would have been basically a perfect design. I got what ails ya? Well, apparently I don't have the answer. I thought I could find offhand where my little steel spudger went, but well, I suppose I could always go with drastic measures. Oh, that's not going to work either. What about my swanky little coin? Nope, that doesn't even fit. Oh, I'll be damned. Apparently Indonesian money is good for something. Sorry, that's just a joke I make because the Indonesian exchange rate is currently like 14,000 to 1 compared to the American dollar. Come on, you son of a gun. This figure, overall, I really, really, really like it a whole lot. But as with many figures I talk about, it's not perfect. And this right here, this is the problem I have with it. This is the main problem I have with this figure, is this single panel. And you'll see a lot of people, they'll put it in, they'll insert it, and they just won't ever pull it back out. And so you'll see a lot of Allens out there that are short this panel. Like they'll be in robot mode, and they'll be missing this like triangle of gray. That's because they went to go transform it back and got super frustrated with that panel. Okay, now that I've got that out, sorry that I made you guys forced to watch all this in basically real time. I try not to cut anything out when I do transformations, because if there's a part of the figure that is frustrating, you need to know about that, man. Like, jump cuts are not the answer. So basically, these are going to fold in. These are going to tab in. These are going to tab together. These wings will kind of go out just a little bit. And you'll have these two tabs here that you can chunk together like that. Put this back down. Close this back up. And there he is in his car mode. Now, unfortunately, in his car mode, he really doesn't have a place. Like, you can put the gun just where you had it before, and it looks fine. But he really doesn't have a place to put his sword. Now, there are places you can put it, but it looks super obvious. Of course, you can stick it back up here if you really want to, but it's going to swing freely. This little divot right here on either leg is exactly the right size to fit that sword. So you could plug it into there if you don't mind just having just like a freaking sword hanging off the side of your car, which if you're displaying it from this side may not be a bad idea at all, actually. One thing that always cracked me up about this car mode is that you can tell from the size of his cockpit that this thing is like 2 lanes wide. You know? I mean, this is a truck-sized car. It's ridiculous, but I love it. It's the 80s. Anyhow, he sits on his rubber wheels. He rolls well. He's got barely clearance down here. These gray panels just barely get out of the way. But as they say in the machining industry, clearance is clearance. And so, if it makes it, it makes it. But yeah, there it is. That is his car mode. And all in all, I freaking love this figure. It looks good. It feels good. The plastic is this like freaking solid plastic. Like, this reminds me of Fans Toys plastic in a lot of way. Or sorry, Fans Project plastic. The Fans Project plastic, I swear, was like forged in the heart of a dying star. It was solid. But this is just, it just feels robust. It feels like super solid. It feels thick. The plastic has just the right amount of give. And then the way they made the molds have got this like matte finish to them. Like, it's like a satin finish, right? It's not like super shiny, but it's got like a little bit of texture to it, you know? Just to have that tactile, feedback when you hold it and handle it. It's really well made. I love this figure. This is one of my favorite figures, actually, that I have. And definitely my favorite Springer, bar none. I haven't handled the Ocular Max one. That's been more recently than my 4-way, and I don't know anybody who's got the Ocular Max figure, but I would have I know this is my biases coming into play here, but I would have a hard time believing that it's better than this one. Like even stuff like this. Like look at this. This right here. This gray panel. This is a panel. This isn't a paint app. That's a separate, physical separate panel. Like they molded this, and this is thick enough that it needed to be hollow because, of course, if you make a plastic part too thick, it will deform as it cools. And it doesn't always deform in an exact manner, so that's where you've got, issues. So, of course, you got to make things with hollows on them. But they built a plastic panel and painted it gray and inserted it in assembly just to fill this in. Little things like that, and you see this all over. The paint apps are super excellent. I've got like a little bit of paint wear on here, but you know what? This figure, I've had it for like almost a year, and I don't know how much use it saw before it got to me. But the paint apps are all really good, and the sculpt is all really good, and the, molded in details are all really good. Like, it's got little subtle things. Like, there's this, like, kind of cog detail in behind this tire, that there's not even really an opportunity to see that because in both robot mode and vehicle mode, that's folded in. It's only in the car mode that's even open to see it. And then it's stuck on the underside of the car, but they put that detail in there anyhow. Just this toy embodies everything that I like about Unique Toys. So, and I don't know what Unique Toys is doing recently. I sure hope that they haven't folded, but I haven't seen hide nor hair of them for a while. So I'm a little bit sad, but I dig it. Anyhow, thanks everybody for watching. You guys are fantastic, and I will catch you in the next review. Until then, stay awesome and be good to each other. See ya. Bye.